Questions about the nature of divine knowledge, analyzed with awareness of cognitive bias, individual subjective perception, intelligence, and human limitations, will lead to a deep reflection and discussion. Such questions, though designed to provoke critical thinking, they are understood in Islam by proving to us that there is a truth Islam doesn't have. What is that truth? Why is it missing? How is it missing? What impact does this truth have on anyone who converts to this religion? Invite you to subscribe to our channel, to leave comments, to contact us on our email, join@malfado.com. According to Islamic teachings, though the truth is multifaceted, there is only one truth that they promote, and it stands out. It is the aspect of Allah, their God. They say that is the ultimate truth, al-haq, the absolute truth. But something is missing. And why is this missing? Because definitely, since Islam is an Abrahamic religion, it cannot be the original or the truth, because by assigning a name like God or Allah to the creator, the missing factor and the missing truth in Islam is that they cannot realize that they are reducing the infinite to the finite, because their God El, where you get Allah in Arabic and Allah in Aramaic, and El or Elohim or Eloha in Hebrew, was a Canaanite chief god, a pantheon of the Canaanite gods. There is other groups of within Islam, like the Nation of Islam, which was founded around the 1930s. This group also teaches that Allah is a being. We would call him a spirit being in our own ideology. And by implying that this Allah is something that can be grasped or described in human terms, the same scenario within Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, they cannot see or understand that the real creator is not a spirit, is not a being, that goes beyond the chasm, and that the real creator is nameless. And that in the game of names, if you know its name, you can control it. Therefore, nobody knows the name of the real creator. Anyone who comes today and teaches you that they know the name of the real creator, they are describing a deity. Here is a proof that they are describing a deity, because if you go to this video by Pale Blue Thoughts, they will show you the evolution of gods and religion from El to Allah. And if you go into the Qur'anic revelation again, and its theological evolution, and its history, and the history of Islam, how it was formulated and how it describes its God in its prophetic tradition, you find that it is lacking in terms of the real indescribable creator as the truth. Because the Muslim God is described with two hands and has only one shin, and we humans are made in the image of Allah, and already we can see that it's completely different. The two hands, as described in Quran 5:64, are all both on the right hand. Sahih Muslim, you can read that other hadith. And his only shin is described in Quran 68:42. He has 2 feet, he has eyes. So since the Quran is describing God here, we can draw him and we come up with a deity. And therefore, they have a lack of understanding that the ultimate infallible reality cannot be described by human language. Now, the very act of naming the divine contradicts the notion of the ultimate creator, beyond which any name or description or names or descriptions are inherently fallible and place limits on what can be known or understood. So, just like its predecessors, Islam borrows from Judaism. Judaism has 72 names of Hashem. Islam comes and says they've got 99 names of their God. The truth is this: the real creator is nameless. You know its name. You become one with it in essence and reality, and you own it. You can control it. It is clear that Allah is called the All-Merciful, the Most Merciful, the Most Compassionate, the Most Generous, the Most Forgiving, the Loving Kind. Therefore, they are describing a king, a human king, or a deity worshipped by humans. If he is the Most Merciful, then how come he throws people into hell? And how come he causes those that don't believe in him to have their heads cut off? These quotes about Allah show that there is a personal consciousness, a personal will, an agency of Allah's attributes of his essence. So these attributes like mercy, justice, and omnipotence are describing a deity. Even Christians know that. So there's also a limitation of language within the Islamic thought and the Islamic religion. And for those that follow Islam, they cannot realize that Arabic is not the oldest language, but it is the language Allah spoke. How old is it? It's about 2,500 years old. We all know, it is known, it is scientifically proved that every language evolved from a single prehistoric mother tongue, first spoken in Africa, which was spoken probably more than millions of years, but the proof that we have is 70,000-year-old sacred snake worship. You cannot tell us, and today, that these people in Botswana, in Southern Africa, who etched this serpent nyami in the rocks, had no language. That would be nonsensical, and it is untenable. So we know that humans had this ritual 70,000 years ago, and Islam came about 600 or 1,500 years ago. So their name of a deity is not close to the people that lived closer to the description of the origins of men or the origins of humans. So the limitations of Arabic language or any other human language reveals that we cannot know the real creator, because human language is just that, human language. Therefore, our ancestors, in their wisdom and their understanding, because they are the owners of the language and they are the owners of a fully developed brain, a fully developed language, they were able to describe that the real creator is unknowable by naming places like Mutusina Zita, a tree with no name. That is clear proof that they knew that there is a divinity that is beyond the Chazim. There is a divinity that is beyond Mukaha, and that interaction with that went through deities and went through the physical aspects of creation. If ever they wanted to reach out to the ultimate, which is beyond the Chazim. You can read our book, Free from God, Unveiling Spirituality That Breeds Wisdom, to find more details and the proofs that God is a deity who comes from many sources. And some of these facts were passed through oral confirmation, and our ancestors passed through this knowledge through their wise sages by using pointers. That's enough. Now, there are so many claims that Islam makes. Islam thinks that this is the only truth. These exaggerated claims that Islam has posted on the earth have not proved, even by a single act, that their organization and their religion has an explanation on anything that would satisfy every human being, every scientific theory, every possible thought, and that everyone would claim an aha moment when they speak, because they fall into the fallacy of the paradox of knowledge. This paradox of claiming complete knowledge by any organization or by any individual who claims to fully know the unknowable would create a paradox. And to know the unknowable would mean that the unknowable is no longer truly unknowable. By its very definition, the unknowable cannot be fully understood or explained. They regurgitated myths, and they didn't produce anything fresh. They didn't contribute anything to humanity that we can hold on and say, hey, there is what it came. This came from them. So truths that Islam doesn't have are plenty. Everything that you can touch would be a truth that Islam does not have. Islam did not bring anything or any achievement at all. The so-called Islamic golden age and knowledge was a mere transmission of earlier and older African, Greek, Roman, and Sumerian truths and knowledge, whose scholars now in the Islamic world plagiarized. There is no contribution to science, mathematics, astronomy, and even of anything by even one Islamic scholar. You can watch these videos. History proves the standard Islamic narrative is false. Islam Tarek Ek Fahud, history of Islam, is just a fraud. There are videos here you can watch with evidence and proofs. Let's give more proof. You see, this is where you read in the Quran that Allah made for you houses from the skin of cattle. At that time, the African civilization were living in story buildings. Very, very clear. Now, you may wonder what's going on here. Why is the Great Pyramid like that? This is an attempt to destroy the Great Pyramid of Giza. And this was done by Muslims. Al-Aziz Athman in the 12th century, Ayub Sultan, and the son of Saladin. Around 1185 to 1186, Al-Aziz Athman started an operation to dismantle the pyramids, starting with the Great Pyramid of Giza. But then they failed and they stopped because it was a heavy job. Some lives were lost. They never invented numbers. They never invented writing. The Arabic transcript in Timbuktu that we have been told, this and that, and the Arabic script is just a plagiarized form of ancient African late Kemetic script known as Demotic. This is an ancient cursive form of Kemetic Demotic. It was the model for the Arabic script. Arabs did this intentionally to fool gold-rich Africans into thinking Islam was related to Black Hamid. It was not, and it is not. Even the prayer that they claim, the Salat, the 5 daily prayers, which they store, there was a concept of daily meditation practice in Africa thousands of years before Islam was a figment in an Arab's imagination, with clear proofs that is given here. In conclusion, therefore, when we critically analyze the perspective on Islamic claims, Islam, like all other religions, makes claims about the divine that are rooted in subjective experience and cultural inheritance, which means its understanding of the Creator is not objectively verifiable. Islam's theological framework borrows significantly from Judaism, Christianity, and earlier mythologies, making it part of a broader continuum rather than a radical new departure. Islam's contribution to science was largely plagiarisms, not even preservative or incremental. It stole from ancient African, Greek, and Persian knowledge sources rather than create revolutionary new insights. From this viewpoint, Islam is neither unique in its claims nor particularly innovative in its contribution to human knowledge, whether theological or scientific. This critique applies broadly to all religious systems, which are similarly subject to the limitations of human cognition, culture, and historical context. Our ancestors are the only ones that teach us that they do not know who the real Creator is or describe him or her or it. Now, there are other brothers who have converted to Islam. We are sorry to tell them that they have a colonized mind, that no real African would become a Muslim or a Christian and they retain his Africanness. He is now Arabized. He is no longer an African. They may be nationalistic, they may be pro-race, black race, but their spirit is not African. Slavery is still in Islam. Their clerics claim that. They say there's no such thing, that slavery is gone. That, whoever says that is an infidel. They say that. So how do you follow such a religion? So-called Quranic revelation is a theological evolution that hides the truth of the unknowable Creator from your soul. Our ancestors in the Hermetica warned us that we must run away from all things that are hostile to the nature of our souls. In order for you to continue in that mode, you need to study Bantu mysteries and to awaken and preserve your soul. You can join us and study with us at Bantu University to study Bantu Foundations and enroll today. You can send an email here or visit our website where you can enroll so that you can retain your real identity and attain total power. Thank you very much. This is Hamaneja topi, Priest Rabbi, LM Dumizul Kunikani Mjagaja, saying Tatenda, Siabonga, Twalumba, Asante Sana. Let us go back to our identity, our ancestors, our divinities, and finally, our true spirituality that knows that which is beyond the chasm. Till we meet again, stay well, stay cool, let's remain focused. Deeds, not words. That's for our year 62-61. Ameni.